Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look.
This isn't just another Pentagon announcement. It's a moment sparking a major debate about the future of the U.S. military. In a rare gathering, Pete Hegseth delivered a blunt and controversial message to top generals and admirals. From calling out fat generals to ending relaxed standards, this signals a clear cultural reset, with a push for a warrior ethos, stricter fitness rules, and no-compromise discipline. Supporters call it strength and readiness. Critics see risk and oversimplification. But one thing is certain, this goes far beyond the military, so watch the full statement carefully, exactly as it was delivered.
Please, take your seats. It's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are. So whether you're an airborne ranger or a chairborne ranger, a brand new private or a 4-star general, you need to meet the height and weight standards and pass your PT test. And that's why today at my direction, the era of unprofessional appearance is over. No more beardos. The era of rampant and ridiculous shaving profiles is done. Simply put, if you do not meet the male-level physical standards for combat positions, cannot pass a PT test, or don't want to shave and look professional, it's time for a new position or a new profession. But when it comes to any job that requires physical power to perform in combat, those physical standards must be high and gender neutral. If women can make it, excellent. If not, it is what it is. If that means no women qualify for some combat jobs, so be it. That is not the intent, but it could be the result, so be it. I'm issuing new policies that will overhaul the IG, EO, and MEO processes. I call it the no more walking on eggshells policy. We are liberating commanders and NCOs. We are liberating you. We are overhauling an inspector general process, the IG, that has been weaponized, putting complainers, ideologues, and poor performers in the driver's seat. We're doing the same with the equal opportunity and military equal opportunity policies, the EO and MEO at our department. No more frivolous complaints, no more anonymous complaints, no more repeat complainants, no more smearing reputations, no more endless waiting, no more legal limbo, no more sidetracking careers, no more walking on eggshells. At the War Department, promotions across the Joint Force will be based on one thing: merit. Colorblind, gender-neutral, merit-based. The entire promotion process, including evaluations of warfighting capabilities, is being thoroughly re-examined. We've already done a lot in this area, but more changes are coming soon. I have fired a number of senior officers since taking over. The previous chairman, other members of the Joint Chiefs, combatant commanders, and other commanders. The rationale for me has been straightforward. It's nearly impossible to change a culture with the same people who helped create or even benefited from that culture, even if that culture was created by a previous president and previous secretary. My approach has been simple. When in doubt, assess the situation, follow your gut, and if it's the best for the military, make a change. We all serve at the pleasure of the president every single day. We are preparing every day. We have to be prepared for war, not for defense. We're training warriors, not defenders. We fight wars to win, not to defend. Defense is something you do all the time. It's inherently reactionary and can lead to overuse, overreach, and mission creep. War is something you do sparingly, on our own terms, and with clear aims. We fight to win. Well, today is another Liberation Day. The liberation of America's warriors, in name, in deed, and in authorities. You kill people and break things for a living. You are not politically correct and don't necessarily belong always in polite society. President Trump has your back, and so do I. and you'll hear from him shortly. Move out and draw fire, because we are the War Department. Godspeed.
Room, attention.
Now that you've heard the full statement, the first thing that stands out is the tone. It's sharp, deliberate, and intentionally provocative. Pete Hegseth is not trying to soften the message or appeal to everyone. Instead, he's drawing a clear line by using phrases like bad look and directly calling out physical appearance. He turns a policy discussion into something visual and emotional. That's a powerful rhetorical move because it simplifies a complex issue into something people instantly understand. And that's where strategy comes in. This is not just about fitness standards, it's about framing. When you say fat generals, you're not just talking about health, you're signaling decline, weakness, and loss of discipline. That framing resonates strongly with audiences who believe institutions have become too lenient or too politically correct. Then comes the structural shift, standardizing fitness requirements across all branches. Right now, the United States Army, United States Navy, United States Marine Corps, and United States Air Force all operate with different benchmarks. What's being proposed here is a single, gender-neutral standard based on existing male requirements. On the surface, that sounds like fairness, equal rules for everyone. But in practice, it raises deeper questions, because equality and equity are not the same thing. A single standard may be simple, but the outcomes may not be evenly distributed, especially across different roles and demographics. Supporters argue this is about readiness. They point to data suggesting a large percentage of service members are overweight. They say a stronger, unified standard ensures that everyone, from recruits to top commanders, meets the same level of physical capability. And they often highlight elite units where strict, gender-neutral standards already exist. But critics see a different picture. They argue that modern warfare is not just about physical strength. Cyber operations, intelligence, logistics, and advanced technology roles require very different skill sets. If the standard becomes too rigid, the risk is not just exclusion, but the loss of valuable expertise. Then there's the gender dimension, which is one of the most politically sensitive aspects of this entire announcement. When Hegseth says, "If women qualify, excellent. If not, so be it," he presents it as neutral. But neutrality in rules does not always mean neutrality in outcomes. This aligns closely with a broader political philosophy associated with figures like Donald Trump, a focus on merit-based systems, with less emphasis on diversity-driven adjustments. For supporters, that's fairness and clarity. For critics, that risks reducing representation and ignoring structural differences. The grooming standards, like the "no more beardos" line, might seem minor at first, but in reality, they carry symbolic weight. Uniform appearance has always been tied to discipline and identity in the military, so tightening those rules sends a signal. This is about returning to a stricter, more traditional image. At the same time, there are unanswered questions. How will medical waivers be handled? What happens to experienced personnel who fail to meet new benchmarks? Will there be flexibility for non-combat roles? Or will the same standard apply across the board? And beyond policy, there's the political impact. This kind of messaging creates a clear contrast. It positions leadership as decisive, strong, and willing to challenge internal norms. It also puts critics in a difficult position, because opposing it can be framed as opposing standards or readiness. But there are risks too. Internally, sweeping cultural shifts can create friction, especially if they are perceived as targeting certain groups. Externally, it shapes how allies and adversaries view the U.S. military, not just in terms of capability, but in terms of values. In the end, this is not just about fitness tests or grooming rules. This is about identity, about what the military represents and who it prioritizes. It's a shift that goes beyond policy and into culture, perception, and politics. So now the question turns to you. Do you see this as a necessary return to discipline and strength, or as a move that risks narrowing the military's effectiveness by oversimplifying complex realities? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more deep breakdowns like this, make sure to subscribe and stay informed.